Yay! Greetings, greetings, Knowledge Quest, Universal Parenting Place, family and friends. We are continuing our twice a month series today. We started looking at the different layers of the body when we began meeting again in June. So just to bring you up to speed with what we've covered so far, the layers of the body are a little bit like if you've ever seen a Russian doll or an Easter egg within an Easter egg within an Easter egg. Each of the layers really touches the other layers. And so today's practice, we're going to start to get into the mind and emotion body. For today's practice, which is a little bit on the vigorous side, I'd like you to have a chair nearby or something at about this level, like a sturdy coffee table. You can carry our class with you wherever you need to go in your house. You can also just be creative. You might perch your hand on your own leg if you can't find a suitable prop. And it's always good to have a mat that's sticky so that when we do upside down V, downward facing dog, your hands and feet feel really well supported. So before we get started, just to quickly review, the outermost body is what we call the food body. It's the body made, first of all, of our mother and father, and then eventually of all of the nutrition we've ever invited in and moved through our bodies. This part of ourselves is very old, if you choose to believe that. Matter is neither created nor destroyed from a physics perspective. So there's something very reassuring about remembering that this outermost body, the fingernails, the eyes, these are old and they are strong, they are solidifying. The next layer in is the breath body, and this is that part of you that gets a little up here when you're anxious and then drops down when you're falling asleep and feeling soothed, or if you're receiving a nice big hug from a friend, you might really breathe that friend in and savor that moment. So this is, believe it or not, a part of your body, your breathing body, and it directly relates to the outermost body, the food body, and to the next body in, which we're working with today, the mind and emotion body. So let's get started by finding our way onto our backs, and we're going to just stretch out really nice and long as you come onto your backs. So you're going to let your knees bend and your feet plant as you find your way all the way back, checking in that the lumbar feels fine before you lengthen the legs, one at a time, right out of the pelvis, planting the root of the heel, spreading the toes, and then touching all 10 fingertips together. We're going to let ourselves feel the fingertips touching, feel the heels grounded on earth, and as you breathe in, lengthen, just comfortably up overhead, and exhale, lower those fingertips all the way back down till your joined fingertips are around in front of the belly button. Let's do that several times. So right off the bat, you can feel that first body, the food body, feeling the length of the bones, the strength of the spine. Exhaling as the fingertips come down. Good work, y'all. Let's do 3 more. Just breathing in, letting your breath initiate the movement. And this time we'll go up and we'll stay up. Seeing if you can, even with the eyes closed, sense all the space between the soles of your feet and the tips of your fingers. See if you can feel that right now. And as you feel that, just let 3 more full breaths come and go. And now we're starting to move into that third body. Notice the alignment between your heels, your sitting bones. Notice the line between the tailbone and the crown of the head. So the mind and emotion body is aware of alignment. It draws connections. One last full breath in, reaching from the sitting bones out through the heels and from the heart up into the fingertips. And as you exhale, just soften those fingertips slowly back down in front of the navel center. And then allow the arms to gently spill open. Let one foot at a time find the ground. Letting those knees bend, and then gently roll to one side, transitioning slowly. We're going to come all the way up to standing, so take your time to do that. Easing up, maybe rolling up into a tall spine. Okay, wow, this music is very like victorious and a little silly. We're just gonna ride with it. So now we're gonna go ahead and step a little wider than your mat. And we're gonna start to come into a little bit more of the breath body so that we can start to, the mind becomes really at its most stable and productive when we are as connected to the breath body as we are to the next level body in, which is intuition, insight, that ability to know things before you've really seen the proof. Heart knowledge, in a sense. So we want to connect those two in a very gradual way. So let's come back to the breath body, and we're going to let ourselves play a little bit. The toes are going to turn out slightly, and we're going to let the hip joints and the shoulder joints just swim with the breath. We're just going to let ourselves carve nice big circles, following with your gaze. Feeling how the breath body is kind of liquid. It flows. Letting the toes turn in and turn out. So I'm just playing around, stirring the space as I breathe. Not a right or wrong way. Just letting the breath initiate your movement. And then we're going to feel how breath begins to take form, which is when we enter into the mind and emotion body. So we're going to let this stance take the shape of a nice, gentle, high lunge. So I'm going to turn to my left. So your mind knows when the knee is safely over the heel. See if you can feel for that. Now we've got the breath body, the food body in place. And we're getting very clear in the mind body as we take the hands up overhead. The elbows can be bent or straight or somewhere between. Just 2 more full breaths. You might even let the arms flow. And we'll try that out on the other side, flowing to the second side. I'm going to let both of my knees open out, rocking, letting the breath move side to side. And then coming on into that second side, I'm turning towards the right. My left heel is in line with the left sitting bone. Coming into that mind body, we're aware of our alignment. Feel for yourself that the right knee is over the ankle. Feel the balance that creates for your emotion and your thought. And then we'll allow ourselves to breathe the arms high and exhale them gently down. Oh good, Bianca's joining us. Breathing the arms and the lungs full. Letting them breathe out and out. Last one. And then we'll let that back heel turn and pivot and plant down. Let the right toes come to face towards the center, and we'll let all 10 toes face towards the front of class. And let the knees take just a few little bobbles. Feeling that relationship between your heels and your sitting bones. So you're starting to see how all the layers are interconnected. We have this magnificent body and the breath and our awareness of it. Wonderful recipe for joyous, powerful living. So we're going to study our triangle pose by turning the right foot out just in line with the degree that the top of the leg can turn out. That means your knee and your second toe are in agreement. They are both going the same way. So for me, that involves many of us, when we totally straighten our leg, the knee points in just slightly. So you might micro bend so that it starts to point in the same direction as your second toe. So that's going to be that mind, body, really aware. See if you can feel that with your eyes closed. That is awakening that mind, body. And now we're going to let ourselves start to come out over this leg. You might even bend it even more first to just find your rib cage moving out over that right thigh. And then we're going to bring the right hand to touch the outer calf and slowly push the ground away. Slowly, just as much as you can go before losing that beautiful alignment between knee and second toe. And now we'll activate that breath body by taking the left arm to the sky. See if you can feel the alignment of the crown of the head and the tailbone. Feel the left foot as it reaches into earth, giving you structure, shape, and stability. And then we'll rise up out of this side. Bring the hands down to the hips, turning all 10 toes. And then again, finding some easy bend and lengthen, feeling sitting bone, heel. Sitting bone, heel. Nice, juicy relationship. And then we'll prepare for that second side. Checking again in with turning the left foot out only as much as the top of the thigh can turn. Otherwise, we create a candy cane, which is not a stable structure for the leg. And then finding that micro bend where you can see the midpoint of your knee and the second toe as if they were the pencil tip and the eraser of one pencil. One beautiful line. Then we're going to let ourselves bend into that leg so that we really feel the external rotation at the top of the thigh. And then gently reach the heel and the sitting bone away from each other, creating length as your side waist extends over the left thigh. Yeah, and then the left hand to the outside of the left calf. Begin to turn the sternum to the right. Right sitting bone reaches towards the right heel. Breath, body broad and deep, moving down the length of the spine. One more full round. Sensing space. Let's inhale and ride the wave of the breath up, bringing the hands back down to the pelvis, all 10 toes forward. Then the heels both come in, the toes both come in. Everything comes all the way in. And again, bringing in the mind, body, find out for yourself, where do my feet belong if I want to be maximally stable and tall? Would the feet be together? Do they need to be wider than sitting bone distance? Find where that is for you to get as deep as you can be tall and stable. You might even rock forward and back just to check. And as you do that, you'll feel the point where you're at your most spacious. You're at your fullest potential spatially. My head's not cut off, is it? Okay. Beautiful. So this is a mountain pose. Most of you know this. It is really hiding inside all the other poses like a beautiful little seed. This is the heart of all of the poses. So now we are going to go ahead and come into downward facing dog and some plank poses. So I'm going to transition down. We're going to be a little bit lower for the next couple poses. So find your way down into all fours, and then you'll lengthen your all fours by taking the hands, one hand forward, curl the toes under, and on an in breath, reach the sitting bones way up away from the hands. See if you can use your limbs to create maximum space and length for your body. Thighs reach away from the hips. Biceps move away from the shoulders. And check that your knuckles are spreading into the ground. And take a couple more breaths here. Nice and full. Let the weight of the head hang. The heels are about 2 fists away from each other. See if you can feel that in your mind's eye. Sensing into that. And then on your next inhale, draw your shoulders all the way out over your hands. Feel the strength and stability of your plank. Heels reaching back. Then we're going to come onto the outer edge of the left foot, planting it down. Step the right foot halfway up your mat and turn those toes out. Shift the shoulder over the hand. Right hand is on the hip. Reach through the left leg. Reach down through the left arm, and then add the right arm. Full breath, both lungs. See if you can sense your mountain pose here from the left heel all the way up through the crown of the head. One more full breath in. Watch your right hand as it slowly comes down. Find the ball of the left foot again and step back. Downward facing dog. Heels 2 fists apart. Bend those legs as much as you need to and release the weight of the head. Be in the breath body. Inhale forward, the shoulders right over the hands. Feel this stability. Then find the outer edge of the right foot. Step the left foot, turning it straight out to your left. Begin to slowly stack the hips, stack the shoulders. Check that the right hand is right underneath your shoulder. If you were a house, isn't that where you would want to put the beam? Reach through the right leg. Reach through the right arm. Add the breath. Let's exhale, watching that left hand, finding the earth, pausing there to find your plank pose. 2 feet, 2 hands. Let's exhale, let those legs bend again as much as you need to. Space for your breathing, space for the organs. Now we'll draw forward into plank pose and lower the knees all the way down to the mat. Big hands, spreading the knuckles. I'm going to gently lower my pelvis and bend at the legs to flex the feet and spread the toes. And as I do that, I'm going to micro bend at the elbows, breathing into the heart. And exhale, gently ease all the way down. Slowly lengthen and gently squeeze the legs towards the midline. Breathing in, baby cobra. Breathing out, soften all the way down. Pause here and feel the alignment between sitting bones and heels. So we've squeezed the legs slightly towards the midline. Feel that alignment, spread the toes and breathe in, heavy legs, light heart. Exhale, softening out and down, let the kneecaps relax. All right, last one. Now feel the line between the tailbone and the crown of the head. Exhale, soften all the way out and down, and we'll press away from the earth. And we're going to walk back to step the right foot forward between the hands. And here's where you might find something helpful to perch, especially if the hamstrings are a little on the not super bendy side. Because what we're going to do is experiment with lengthening. So we're going to lift the sole of that foot, spread the toes, and begin to lengthen that leg, just like we did for our triangle pose. Micro bend and begin to bow. See if you might feel the mind moving through the sole of the foot, moving beyond the sole of the foot. From the sitting bone, intelligence moves out. So if you're doing this on your own, you might spend as much as a minute in this pose. This is not a pose we find ourselves in very often during the day, so it might feel odd. And then we'll exhale the sole of the foot back down to the ground, slowly aligning the knee above the ankle, which you can really feel, and then slowly change sides, bringing that left foot forward. Starting from up on high, helping yourself into the pose. Starting with the knee over the ankle, I'm going to lift and spread the toes. And then slowly, I'm taking my sitting bone back as I start to bring the sternum towards that left knee. So your two sides might be quite different. I'm a good example of that. This side is much more challenging for me. An open mind. Let the breath be a connection between your physical self and your attention, your thoughts and feelings. The mind body is the one that knows, I'm going too far, or I could do a little bit more here. That is the mind body. It has to stay rooted in the other two bodies. If the breath is not flowing, your mind body knows you've gone a little too far. Okay, We're gonna let the sole of that foot start to find the ground. I'm gonna frame it with both hands. On an inhale, start to reach back and find downward facing dog. Really spread the breath high to the hips. And as you exhale, walk your way forward. With your inhale, let the legs gently bend. Slowly make your way all the way back up into mountain pose. Fingertips lightly touch. We'll inhale, high hands mountain. And exhale, right back down in front of the solar plexus, the belly button. 2 more rounds. Last one. Breath initiates movement. Feel the crown above the feet. Beautiful. So now we'll need this nice high prop off to the right side. So I'm going to step my feet same distance apart that we used for triangle. We're going to check out triangle pose a second time. It's beautiful to do a pose twice so that you can reflect on how other poses have affected. So let's go ahead and come into triangle with a micro bend at that front knee, sliding the rib cage out over the right thigh, right hand to outer calf, finding the breath through the whole left body. And see if your feet feel a little bit more intelligent since we just did that proposal pose stretch. Feel through the feet. Feel the inner and outer shins. Now I'm going to bring my left hand to my hip and we're going to come into half moon pose. I'm going to look down at my foot. I'm going to feel the knee all the way out over the ankle and I'm going to shorten my stance just a little bit, touching this chair or your coffee table. I'm going to transition my weight, right sitting bone over right heel, left heel, just reaching out into space. It does not have to be the same level as your hip. It might be higher or lower. And you might be able to just check that the toes not turning in, the hip, the knee, and the foot are all facing the same direction. And then you might stack the hips. You might take the left arm to the sky. So the mind is able to draw lines way out into space. And we'll bring the left hand back down to the hip, gazing down at your standing leg. Reach slowly to earth, maybe pausing in your triangle. And exhale the chest right back over the hips. Completing your pose. Taking a moment, all 10 toes facing forward. Some easy bends. I like to let my head bob as I do that. Ripples and waves. So you might have already noticed that the mind body is a little on the dry side, where the breath body is a little bit more liquid. So if you're loosey-goosey, you might benefit from alignment type work. If you're the other, if you're a little bit more rigid, a little bit more dry, you might be somebody who needs to focus more in the poses on really finding the breath. And that can change throughout our lifetimes. So we'll set up for the second side, moving your assisting prop to the left, setting up for triangle pose. My right toes are turned in about 30-degree angle. There's that mind body again, thinking about geometry. If you've got kiddos that are in geometry in school, try this stuff with them. They might be able to help improve your poses even. So we'll micro bend the left leg And I'm going to start to reach my left side waist out. If this starts to happen to you, that means you're going a little too far. So only coming out where you can really feel breath moving in the left and right lungs, facing in front of you. Let your feet be part of your lungs. Use the breath to connect into the food body. And now we'll be shifting to connect into space. I'm going to let the left knee shift right over the ankle. I'm going to shorten my stance. And I'm going to transition all the way out. For me, that prop is a little too high. So I'm sliding it away from me so I can come down a little bit. Use the mind to be aware of the alignment of the whole left leg. If the hips aren't crazy open, your hips might just need to turn a little towards the earth. So play with that. Let your whole leg be in agreement. Adding that top arm. You might even look down at your right foot if your balance is steady. Seeing it reach into space. And we'll begin to gently ease out of the pose, looking down towards the earth, bending into the standing leg, finding the ground, taking a moment to pause here. And exhale, easing the chest back up. Turning the toes. Little bend. Little lengthen. Let's do that twice more. Little bend. Little lengthen. And then we'll heel toe all the way back in. And feel your mountain pose with all 10 fingertips touching. Just notice what this is like. Notice if your emotions have a certain quality right now. Notice the timing and the space between your thoughts. One last full round of breath right here in mountain. We'll release the fingertips down. Inhale the arms out as you root earthward through the feet, skyward through the fingertips and the gaze. Exhale, let the legs bend as much as you like. Release the weight of the head, standing forward fold. Breathing in, find a long flat back position. And with your exhale, soften and walk back into child's pose. So we're going to walk back till the shins find the earth. Let the knees come a little wider than sitting bone distance. Big toes touch. Stretch the hips away from the hands. And then allow those elbows to bend. Let the forehead rest on stacked forearms. As you're here, let your gaze come down to the tips of the nostrils, back of the neck long. And then gently uncross the forearms, draw the hands out into all fours, and we'll step that right foot forward once more. Curl the back toes under and find your lunge. Let that left hand reach to the earth and start to slowly stack the shoulders, reaching the right arm to the sky as your sternum draws towards your inner right thigh and the left heel lengthens away from the spine. Feel the geometry of your pose, reaching into space. And exhale, we're going to ease back slowly into child's pose. So let the left knee come down to the ground. Let the right knee come down, knees widen out, big toes gently touch. So if sitting on the heels is not good for you, you'll stay in puppy pose instead, which is hips above the knees, forearms stacked underneath the forehead like so. Feel the breath coming and going from your navel center, the seat of so much power in the food body, letting it soften and be received. And easing out, spreading the hands forward, this time stepping that left foot between the hands. Left hand can just rest on the top of that left knee. Right hand knuckles reaching into the earth. Curl those right toes under. Lengthen the right heel straight out from the sitting bone. Now imagine your sitting bones wide. Take the right thigh out to the right just a little bit. But imagine your shins hugging towards the center. Use that power to start to slowly stack the shoulders. Maybe taking the left arm to the sky. And ease that hand back down. Replacing left hand for the left foot. Ease the right foot to earth. The right knee to earth. Step back into all fours. And one more child's pose right here. Hands might stretch forward if that feels good. Gaze is down towards the belly. Easy back of head. I'm going to walk the hands in towards us. We're going to find our way once more into standing, just curling those toes under, reaching. Let's walk the hands back towards the feet, rolling up through the spine. For our last standing pose, tree pose. I'm going to come to stand on that right leg. Finding the sole of the left foot to the inner thigh or calf. See if you can use your own mind map of space to find the alignment for you. You might have moving arms or still. Hands might be in prayer. The stability of the tree is largely invisible, just like yours is. See how your breath plays a role in your stability. Good work, y'all. Let's gently change sides, taking a moment to feel the mountain with all 10 fingertips touching. And easing to that second side. For me, that's going to be the left. So balancing is this beautiful mind-body moment of wobbling, of finding. You ever watched a young tree starting to grow? There's a lot of wobbling in the wind as it starts to mind the space. Orient to your space. Down space, back space. And we'll gently transition that foot down to the ground, finding a wide-legged mountain. We're going to take some nice easy swishes, letting that opposite heel lift as the foot turns in. For these easy swishes, letting the wrists, kind of like a willow tree, the way their beautiful tendrils sway in the breeze. Ah. Once more to each side, then letting it ease back. All right, so we're gonna make our way down to seated. If you like to sit on a little bit of height for seated poses and twists, we're gonna do a short seated twist. Now, I'm gonna bring over a spare rolled mat. I'm gonna perch on the edge of that, rotating each of my thighs in before I come into the twist. I'm gonna take my right knee in towards me, and you might be able to step it over your left leg. If that's not possible for you, you'll stay right here, okay? Some folks can step over. Some folks like to also bend that second leg. It's not more advanced, it's just a slightly different pose. If you have any sacrum trouble, I recommend you keep that leg straight. Okay, so we're gonna twist towards the bent leg. Using an exhale, no big drama. Start to turn towards the right and just be here and breathe. Feel where the head is in relation to the pelvis. I should mention this, if you are pregnant, we do not do closed body twists. You would be twisting the other way if you are pregnant, okay? Always staying with open twists. Slowly ease out of this pose, letting the leg uncross, letting both of the legs lengthen away from you. Seated in staff pose. Legs can be bent if they need to. And then we'll come to that second side, letting that left foot find the ground, maybe stepping across, maybe bending the second leg, and then nice and easy turning. Just like a tree, use anything that touches the ground to go down. Use anything that reaches away from the spine to widen out. Use anything that goes up to go up. Use what you've got to do what you do. Somebody should write that down. That's a good one. That's a good one. Nice, easy breath. And gently ease back. Come into a nice simple cross-legged pose. Do a little bit of breathing in that mind body before we settle into final relaxation. So a lot of times we think of breathing in as going up and breathing out as going down. So this is going to work a little differently than you're used to. We're going to think of inhaling down and exhaling up. And we're going to do that on an equal ratio breath. So a 4 count in to go down and a 4 count out to go up. So practice with me. Let a full round of breath come and go. And as much as you can, use your imagination to see the breath pouring down as you breathe in, okay? So exhale and begin. Breathe in and down. 2, 3, 4, out and up. 2, 3, 4, in and down. 2, 3, 4, out and up. 2, 3, 4, at your own pace. Last 2 rounds. Gently release that. And let's come all the way down, either flat on your mat, or if you know that you would love to do another pose like legs at the wall or calves on a chair, feel free to do that right now. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, just go right along with me. Place a little rolled blanket behind the thighs and then help yourself down. If you're wearing glasses, you can remove these and place them on your chest. Just please don't forget about them. Let the legs flop open. Heels are a little wider than the hips. The palms gently spill away from you like tributaries from a great river. One more audible, easy exhale. Just like the nest for a baby bird has a gravitational pull towards the center that keeps those babies safe, let your final relaxation pose draw you in and down towards your navel center. Allow your breath to deepen.
Yes, please.
Spreading into the tops of the legs and reaching out into the soles of the feet, palms of the hands. Let your hands gently refresh the contours of the face, gently opening the forehead, spreading it towards the temples. Spread your cheekbones towards the temples. And bring the feet to the floor one at a time. Rock to one side, keeping those eyes gently closed. We're going to transition. Nothing to look at here, just arriving back in a simple seated position. Let the palms press in towards each other, the thumbs come to the breastbone. And as you bow, know that you bow gently towards that magnificent source within you, not towards any external authority. May all beings be supremely happy. May all beings live with ease. May all beings be safe. May all beings be free. Ashe, y'all, and thank you so much for practicing today.